Dennis Lehane writes crime fiction that punches you in the gut and doesn't apologize for it. I'm TJ Stecker, agent and crime fiction author, former Navy aviator, and licensed attorney. I write novels about family secrets, military corruption, and small-town corruption set in the mountains of North Carolina. Today, we're talking about one of the contemporary masters of crime fiction, Dennis Lehane, and what we can learn from him. Dennis Lehane writes crime fiction that punches you in the gut and doesn't apologize for it. He's the guy behind Mystic River, Gone Baby Gone, Shutter Island. He wrote for The Wire. And his first novel, the one we're diving into today, A Drink Before the War, a book that introduced the world to Patrick Kenzie and Angie Gennaro, two private detectives from Boston who refuse to look away from the darkness that lives in their own backyard. Dennis Lehane grew up in Dorchester, Massachusetts, a working-class neighborhood in Boston. He started writing when he was 8 years old, but as he puts it, being a writer wasn't exactly a career option in his hometown. He dropped out of 2 colleges before realizing the only thing he was good at was making stuff up, so he got serious about writing. He went to Florida International University's MFA program and got serious about writing his first novel, A Drink Before the War. Here's the thing about Lehane. He's not interested in being called a literary writer. When the New York Times said his books moved him far beyond the confines of the crime genre, he rolled his eyes. Lehane believes in storytelling above everything else, and he said that if you can't tell a compelling story, nothing else matters. He has said to young writers, you have 1,000 pages of crap in you. You just have to write it out. You're going to fail before you succeed. Keep doing the things that scare you in your writing. Before we get into A Drink Before the War, let me share a few things that Lehane said about writing that stuck with me. First, he believes deeply in the primacy of language. He said he wants to lift his prose to the highest level he's capable of and make his words symphonic. That's not about being flowery. It's about precision, every word doing its job. Second, he knows that writing is revealing. As he put it, you're about to be as marked as you've ever been in front of everybody. That's terrifying, but that fear has to be managed, not avoided. And third, he's practical about the work. He punches in at 7 in the morning and shuts down at 4. He doesn't believe in writing more than 4 hours at a time because after that, you're just creating work you'll have to rewrite. One more thing. He said that when he starts a book, he only knows 3 things. The beginning, something to move the story forward, something that happens at the end. Everything else gets figured out along the way. All right, let's talk about A Drink Before the War. This is Lehane's debut novel, published in 1994. It introduces us to Patrick Kenzie and Angela Gennaro, 2 private detectives working out of Boston. They're hired by 3 politicians to track down a woman who disappeared with some documents that could be politically embarrassing. Sounds simple, right? Find the woman, get the documents, case closed. Except nothing in a Lehane novel is ever that simple. What starts as a straightforward missing persons case spirals into something much darker, a story about race, corruption, violence, and the personal cost of doing the right thing. Patrick and Angie aren't superhero detectives. They're from the neighborhood. They know these people, and that makes every choice personal. And the dialogue, they talk like real people. It feels natural to the place that they're describing in the setting. There's a moment early in the book where Patrick reflects on his philosophy. He goes on the presumption that everyone's full of it until it's proven otherwise. And it usually serves him well. That cynicism, that working class skepticism, it's baked into the DNA of this novel. Patrick and Angie don't trust easy. They've seen too much. And here's something I really respect about Lehane's writing. This book gets dark, surprisingly dark, but it never feels gratuitous. He's not throwing in violence or brutality for shock value. When something horrific happens, it serves the story. It reveals character. It raises the stakes in a way that matters. Lehane understands that darkness has to earn its place on the page. It has to mean something. That restraint, that purposefulness, is what separates good crime fiction from exploitation. And the stakes, they escalate. What begins as a political favor turns into a life or death situation. People die, loyalties get tested, and by the end, Patrick and Angie have to decide what kind of people they're going to be. So how does Dennis Lehane show up in my work? Well, first, it's the setting. Lehane taught me that place isn't just a backdrop, it's character. The way he writes Boston, you can feel it. The neighborhoods, the people, the buried history. In my novels, I try to do the same thing with the mountains of North Carolina and the bureaucracy of Washington, D.C. I want the readers to feel the weight of those places. Second, damaged but driven characters. Patrick Kenzie isn't perfect. He makes mistakes. He's got scars. But he keeps going because he believes in something. That's the kind of protagonist I gravitate to. So do the readers. Someone who gets down but keeps moving forward. In my novel, Jolene Cobert isn't just investigating a friend's death. She's overcoming her dependence on OxyContin and the struggle she has with her family. That personal stake, that wound driving the character forward, that's Lehane's influence. And finally, moral complexity. Lehane doesn't just write simple good versus evil stories. He infuses dark slowly, so before you realize it, you're pulled into the depths and searching for light. His characters make hard choices with no clean answers. That's the kind of fiction that I want to write. Stories that wrestle with loyalty and what we're willing to sacrifice in service of the truth. If you haven't read Dennis Lehane, you should start with The Drink Before the War, then read the rest of the Kenzie Gennaro series. Watch how he builds his characters, deepens the world with each book. Lehane proves that crime fiction doesn't have to choose between being literary and being entertaining. You can have both. You can write prose that sings and tell a story that keeps readers turning pages. You can explore big themes, race, class, violence, morality, without losing sight of the human beings at the center of it all. That's the standard I'm chasing in my own work. Stories that matter, characters who feel real, and prose that does its job without calling attention to itself. So that's my take on Dennis Lehane and A Drink Before the War. Have you read it? If so, drop a comment and let me know what you think. What's your favorite Lehane novel? How has he influenced your writing? And if you're interested in my crime fiction, novels about family secrets and characters who can't let the past stay buried, head over to tjstecker.com to sign up for my newsletter. I'll keep you updated on my journey to publication, and I promise not to spam your inbox. If this video helped you think different about crime fiction, hit the like button and subscribe to Fireside Writer. New videos every week about craft, structure, and what makes good crime fiction work. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Now, go write something.